Paul Bundy. I think that's like a.
All right, what's up, guys? What's up, Mitch? We fresh off another weekend of combat night action.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited for the break.
We officially finished our first little circuit, first little Chitlin circuit of the year. We hit Orlando, Tallahassee, and Fort Lauderdale. Feel like I've been everywhere in between during those weeks. Not as far as you.
Yeah. It's been a good month. It's been a good month.
So yeah, we had an amateur card in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend, and those guys always put on a show, and they didn't disappoint this weekend either. We had our main event was a lightweight title fight between MMA bout between James Garber and Johan Budell. We're going to talk about that, as well as our co-main event, which was a lightweight kickboxing. Do you still call it lightweight, or you just say the weight?
Kickboxing has different weight classes than MMA, but we just say fuck it, and we just go with what we do. So
Yeah.
lightweight kickboxing title.
And that was between William Terry and Kirby Dieuveuille. And a bunch of other exciting fights. And if you guys are following us on Instagram or subscribe to us on YouTube, then you've seen quite a few of those highlights. We still got plenty more to go. And for all of the photos and stuff from the evening, you can check us out on Facebook. That's where all of that content lands for photographs, as well as Instagram. But there will be even more on Facebook. So you can look for that a little bit later this week. So yeah, we made it home. Safe and sound, long drive.
Yes, very, very long weekend in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we were there a couple days early. I know we're gonna have potentially a couple other guys jump on with us, but until then, we're just gonna kick it off and just talk about our main event between James Garber and Johan Budell, the backpack, who put on another exciting performance. He won by unanimous decision, and he did what he does basically, which is go, go, go.
Pressure, nonstop pressure.
Let's see.
I'm a huge fan of, I don't know if it's Johan. I call him Johan. He never corrected me, but I never correct people when they mess up my name. So, man, I'm a big fan of this kid. He is he's nonstop pressure. He's never said no to a fight. He's never pulled out of a fight. Every time he fights, he just gets better and better. His first fight with us really let us know what a dog he was, because he was in a war, and he's a unique guy, as you'll see here from his intro. Getting that love from Miles.
Yeah, so we've seen him pretty much go to the deep end of the pool every single time he fights.
Yep.
It oftentimes looks like some type of comeback or something, but he's just a dog and just stays in it. And he might even look like he's getting his ass kicked for a bit, but then he's just, here they go off to the races. Garber shoots on him right away.
Yeah, and Garber is no easy night out either. Garber has been in many awards with us and always shows up and shows out as well. I just feel like on this night, Johan edged him out everywhere.
Yeah, we're not going to watch the whole fight. We can skim
Yeah.
through it.
But I mean, this is this first takedown attempt and defense is really important. It kind of sets a tone for the fight, right? Like if you get an easy takedown, then both guys know, hey, I can do this anytime. The guy defends it. You spend a lot of energy right out the rip, and it just puts a little like reminder in your head that if I'm going for a takedown, it's going to be a lot of work. And Johan is probably not spending a whole bunch of energy. He's just got a really good position, where he's able to kind of stalemate out Garber and not let him get the takedown. And in this fight, I saw a lot more knees and kicks. He was throwing a ton of knees and kicks. And Garber was kind of doing that, would be in a clinch and would hit him with the body with the hands. But, throwing hands to the body versus getting kneed in the body is just it's not a good trade-off. I don't know if I'm supposed to be hearing the sound in this video, but I don't hear any sound on the video now.
Do you hear now?
I hear something that wants to be the sound, if that makes sense. Very faint. There we go. That's the sound.
Wrestling through his clinching and is using it to his advantage. That long body is letting him just
right into and Ben Stark says it best, talking about using that long body against him. Like, Garber is just playing a game that Johan is better at. And I mean, he really kind of does it the whole fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Coach Ben in here. He's in the waiting room.
Yeah, these knees, man, that's just so hard.
This is reminiscent of Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin.
But Garber tough as nails too. This fight goes to a unanimous decision, and this is kind of the pace the whole fight. It's 3 rounds of this. It was a great fight. 3 rounds of that. Amazing fight.
Looking for this.
And really impressive. Bushido had 4 athletes, went 4-0. It's very hard to get to. First of all, they started with 4 athletes and they ended with 4 athletes. So that in itself, good job. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
No injuries, no bad luck on their end, not losing opponents. They had the 4 same opponents for the whole camp. And it says a lot about their camp to be able to go out there and get 4 wins on one night. We've had a few camps do stuff like that. The Jungle, Fusion, they go out with maybe 6 or 7 guys and all come back with wins. But man, it is very hard to have a bunch of guys on a card and everyone get a win. And their head coach was out of town.
Who's head coach?
Bushido's. His daughter had a soccer game in Orlando. So you know how that is.
I do.
The daughters and the kids gotta play first fiddle when it comes to events. Maybe not for the working fathers, but if you're just going there to corner a coach, it's like you gotta support your fighter or your daughter. You gotta go with the daughter.
All right, I was trying to get Ben a file real quick. He's going to jump in here in just a second. Oh. Yeah, every weekend, I know I'm not coaching, but every weekend I'm not doing combat night. I'm on the road somewhere watching my daughter wrestle.
Yeah, I'm thankful we don't have any traveling yet for Caden. It's just baseball fields, local.
What's up, Ben? We're checking out the main event.
Man, I heard you guys talking about Budell's knees. Man, I said it in the show. Man, those knees were absolutely vicious. He did so much damage to the body with them. Oh, rough. Dude, this Spladle / Suluev stretch that he went for at the end was crazy.
Yeah, the little laugh or smile he made. It's not this one. It's the next attempt. Next time he comes up and he goes for it towards the end of the round. But like he sticks his tongue out and smiles real big.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's having a good time.
He really seemed like he was enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You can't fake that. Some guys love to fight, and they really doesn't matter if they're winning or losing. They just really like to fight, and that is a hard trait to overcome because that guy's never daunted because he just enjoys fighting. You know.
We talked a little bit, Ben, about Johan Budell's past fights, and he's undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he took his record to 6-0. And how he always ventures into the deep waters, and then is just so resilient. And
he's done it the correct way too. He's not taking easy fights. All those fights have been tough opponents, and he's been tested everywhere. His grappling, his striking, you name it. And one thing always remains the same. Budell's hand gets raised.
Man, for his first 5 fights, it really seemed like his game plan was just beat on me until you're tired.
Yeah.
And then my cardio will overcome, which is a very dangerous way to fight. But his striking was so advanced for over the, 4 months since he last fought?
Yeah, this fight was his best fight for sure.
Man, complete package, man. Still a little sloppy, but he has a jab now. He's got a nice left straight, which keep in mind he's a southpaw, which just makes it all that more confusing. And he's got a clinch, and he's not hesitating. He doesn't hesitate at all. The second he locked up that plum on Garber, he just started spamming knees until he had to stop.
And what a great way to start the fight, but with pumping like 10 or 12 hard knees right to the body. And this is his thing right here.
He's the backpack.
There's the
smile. Yeah.
Yeah, Garber was just
great way
frustrated.
Man, Garber normally opens up hot, fast, flurries of strikes, rah, 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 and he went straight to the double.
Yep.
He laid out his whole game plan in his interview sheet. He said he wanted to work the body, force Budell to kind of drop his head, change his level, and then he was going to take him out. His body shots did do a good bit of damage. If you saw from the second going into the third, Budell wasn't even on the stool. He was laying on the floor.
Yeah. I don't know that was as much as the body doing damage as much as that's just Budell being weird.
Is he a weird kid?
Just watch this. I mean, we're all weird, right? But in our own little way, unique. I like it. It's why kind of weird. He's having fun. He's loving every minute of being in there.
He's pretty young, isn't he?
Yeah, he's young. I don't know how young he is, but he's young.
He's 22.
23. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'm going to queue up the next one. We're going to go to the co-main.
When you said the bottom up, Ramsey, I thought you meant the beginning of the night to the end of the night.
All right, we're just going to let this one pick up in the second round. Oh, this is right whenever he's getting a point taken. Maybe we want to see that moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, man. That's on a different file.
This fight, man, y'all motherfuckers got to decide. If you tell us kickboxing, understand the rules. Like, that to me is the biggest right now. Is like you got some guys who are adamant about wanting kickboxing or adamant about wanting Muay Thai. And then you get in the fight and you want Muay Thai. It's like, bro, do you not know what kickboxing is? Do you not know what Muay Thai is? Like, there's a difference. And in kickboxing, you can't be getting your ass handed to you and then defensively clinch and hug on to the guy. That's illegal. But I feel like the referees feel some kind of way about taking a point from a guy who's trying to survive in that moment, but got to change. These guys got to understand and like kind of figure out what's what between kickboxing and Muay Thai, and pick the right sport they want to do. Because I felt like both these guys wanted to do Muay Thai.
So for the kickboxing rule set, we're talking like K1 Glory rules, right? You
K1.
can have that short clinch, bang
Yep.
bang, then you got to bail.
Yep. Can't pull them into the strike. You grab it, you use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a hold. You're just like holding them in place, like come here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
For a strike, boom. But man, you'll see it in this Kirby fight. I don't know if we're gonna go back to it or not. Ramsey, this isn't the right one, right?
Oh, my bad.
All right, I wasn't sure. I was like, I'm gonna let him keep going with this.
We've been here for a minute. Hey, that fight was. I missed the first round, but that Garrity Matthews fight was pretty awesome in the second and third.
Both those guys' records are not indicative of their skill level. They're both very good.
No, I mean Garrity picked a really hard opponent for his first MMA fight.
Both of them have picked hard opponents for their fights across the board, and fighting each other is another hard, in my opinion. Hard opponent. They're both really tough. I thought Brian Gonzalez won the fight before this. He fought Richard Reish out of Tigre. He dropped him. It was back and forth war. I thought he won the fight, but Richard did land a few good takedowns. Very close fight, though. And then Richard went on the fight for the belt against Avery. That was an all-out war. So, both those guys are good. But, yeah, back to this fight. It was a kickboxing fight. I wish it had been a Muay Thai fight. The ref would have been less involved.
Yeah. Now, I didn't see Terry falling into the Muay Thai and the clinching. He did a fantastic job of inside controls, short frames, face pushing, breaking off. Kirby was coming at him to clinch. Kirby
in the
wanted
second
to clinch
round,
so bad.
In the second round, yes. In the first round, I felt like they were both clinching. In the first round, William Terry really got it handed to him. I felt like Kirby won the first round, but it was dope to see the adjustments Terry made coming out into the second, and the mentality he had. He had already been warned a few times about grabbing a clinch, and he was like, all right, it's all pressure now. See, grabs a clinch there. That was Terry's engagement. Tells him both, because they kind of both, he defensively clinched after he clinched, but Terry definitely started that.
Yeah, he definitely.
Who makes the choice as to whether? Sorry, Ben. I was just going to ask, who makes the choice as to like the rule set? Like, why didn't they fight Muay Thai?
The fighters and the coaches. They get the option.
You would also be surprised how many people just think they're the same thing.
Yeah, that too. And, they're fighting for other promotions. They're not always fighting for us. So that, other promotions, it is the same. They don't really differentiate like we do. But it's important, if you haven't trained to clinch, it is a whole new art form that will get your ass whooped if you're fighting someone who has trained to clinch and understands it. But also, with that being said, if you've been still clinching defensively throughout your whole camp and you don't know how to angle off without grabbing them and moving, that's not kickboxing. That's Muay Thai. There's no defensive clinching. To me, the biggest crime you can do in kickboxing is a defensive clinch. Like an offensive clinch, maybe you hold it for a second too long, whatever. But when you're getting your ass handed to you and you grab defensively, it's like...
Yeah, 100%. It's a bad look. It tells the judges you're in trouble. It tells the judges you've got no answer for what's happening, but it does stop the pace. Like, if we're talking like PKA back in the days, it was the same as boxing. I mean, hell, look at boxing. Like Andy Ruiz, overhand left hook tie up, clean break.
So something we didn't see really in the first round, but something that becomes quite crucial as the fight moves on is as they start dipping down to close the distance between each other, and it ends up, costing Terry a point in the second round. And so I'm just keen on like having another look and seeing when it starts happening and how egregious it is.
I watched that moment about 30 times. So I have a very strong opinion about it.
So I didn't even see a headbutt until after Kirby started complaining and Ramsey pulled it up. And even then, it didn't look super intentional to me. It kind of looked like he was sliding in, but I've only seen it twice.
Well, Kirby also defensively clinches in that moment. I think if there's no defensive clinch there's no headbutt.
I'd agree with that. And also look at how Kirby holds his hands.
And
He
right
keeps
there,
them super wide.
but right there, Kirby defensively clinched. Williams-Terry hands were out. He's like, yo, I'm not clinching at all. I'm not.
Yeah, Kirby wanted none of the boxing there.
And Terry came out, and that was good. That was one technique.
Oh, so you don't like the stop in the?
It's
in
one
the warning
technique.
there.
It's one technique.
Yeah, Chris told them they were allowed the one. You just got to break when he comes in and says break.
Kirby does the same thing shortly after with a flying knee, and Chris has nothing to him. I'll say the ref says nothing to him.
Mm.
But again, we're not in there. I don't care if you're the
Yeah.
fighter or the referee. We're not in there. It's a whole different ball game when you're in there. What angle you have, what vantage point you have. See, Kirby went to defensively clinch again, and Williams doing a good job pushing him off. Here comes I believe, the illegal move.
Yeah,
All right,
at the
see,
camera
right there.
switch.
Who's defensively clinching there, though?
Kirby.
Kirby again. Kirby still hasn't been warned. That's 2 in this round.
So Miles and I were talking about this while we were calling it. Like we
Now
were
that's
like,
William.
Terry,
That's William. But he after he clinched, he was like, "Oh shit!" and started to
Yes.
push away. Like, let me get away from this.
Terry was spot on. Anytime he tied up, he immediately went to break because he was doing so good in the boxing. It behooves him to continue that short range attack.
Right there. Who's clinching?
Kirby. And
That's the third time this round.
You'll see around the time where they take the point, Kirby
That's
not
it.
only is clinching, but he's clinching forehead first. He's initiating the headbutts. Now, I don't know if he's doing it like reactively, like, hey, you want to headbutt me? I'm going to headbutt you. But even so, if you're the one diving in, you're the one driving the head. Like, I don't know how we're penalizing the other guy.
So we see here in a couple of sequences where it does appear to me that Terry is leaning in with his head, and this is right before the penalty.
But let's also keep in mind, what is Kirby doing while he's leaning in?
Reaching in. So what
Right
I
there
see
again.
from Terry is like a classic boxing defense. He goes high guard and he bunkers, and then he's going right to his frame and then firing off.
So go back to the beginning of that Ramsey, the beginning of that exchange. Terry's putting it on him right here. Let's just be real. Terry's putting it on him right here. And as he falls against the cage, see, he didn't get called for that clinch, even though Terry did the same thing earlier and Terry got called. But right here, he defensively clinches. Boom, grabs him, right? Terry's trying to push him off of him. Get off me. Goes back to boxing. Boom, boom, boom. Pulls the gloves down, going again. And right before the headbutt, oh, look, there's he grabbing again. Pulling him in. So why I point that out is because it's a recipe for disaster. If you got a guy, Terry's not he is leading with his head, but he's not like leading with his head. It's not an intentional headbutt. It's a style. I mean, a lot of guys fight like this. They fight with their head.
We got guys who are fighting like face first, overhand coming after,
Yeah. Now
it's at the highest level. Look at like a Volkanovski. He leads with his face.
All right,
now, in this moment, again, I don't have Chris's angle. I don't have the ref's angle. Did he think it was intentional? I hadn't seen him warn him for leading with the head prior to this, so I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I do think the point, and I will say this also, the point didn't make a difference in the fight. Which is also crazy.
Decision?
It was a majority. It was a majority decision.
Okay.
One person had it a draw. One person had it 30-26 for Terry or for Kirby, and someone had it 29-28 or 30-28 for Kirby. So
really,
it would have been a majority draw, I believe, without the point. I mean, I think I remember correctly.
Man, I had it with the point being a draw. I had Kirby in the first, I had Terry in the third, and I had Terry in the second losing a point. I had
agree.
it 19-19.
Yeah,
Or,
it
sorry.
was 28-28.
Yeah.
I agree. It was a draw. In my opinion, I mean, I wasn't watching it to judge
Yeah.
the fight. I
Oh.
was watching it to enjoy it.
Do we know why this title fight wasn't 5 rounds?
Because 9 times out of 10, kickboxing and Muay Thai title fights that are 5 rounds are boring. Just being real.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
I gotta uncharge my vehicle real quick. I'm gonna press hold on the mic.
This is one where we thought 2 more rounds would have been nice.
Yeah, it would. These guys were going at it, and they were doing an awesome job. I thought Terry would really impress me with his framing, his inside controls, his posting game, and his boxing was so crispy, man. His hooks were tight, his right hands were sharp. I would have liked to see more knees, more kicking out of him, but bro, his boxing was super impressive and really effective. Again, his defensive framing was some of the best I've seen in the last year or so. Like, beautiful work on the inside by Terry. Fantastic stuff. Good controls. Really solid.
And being that the fight went in the way of Dieuveuille, he does throw more kicks. I think Terry does mix it up with some little short knees inside, but Dieuveuille just throws more flat out kicks.
That's true, but like his volume was super. It wasn't even comparable. Like if he had 50 or 60% the volume, okay. But I just didn't see it. And Terry was landing really hard.
Yeah.
Kirby was in trouble often.
Now, like, don't get me wrong. I agree with you guys. I think this fight, I would have liked to see 2 extra rounds on this. But Terry, to me, was
look
so
at that
physical.
Last one. Kirby just dove in with his whole ass head. Twice.
And there he is, leading with his head again. Well, now he's leading with his head instead of the other guy. And, I think this was an off night for Kirby. I think I've seen Kirby fight before. And it turned out well for him. He came out the champ. He's hopefully I want to run this fight back. And I want to run this fight back as a 5-round title fight.
Muay Thai rules.
Muay Thai rules.
Yeah.
Muay Thai rules. Because both guys wanted to clinch. If I was Chris, and maybe this is probably the wrong thing to do, but if I'm Chris, by the end of the first round, I'm going to each corner. I'm going, hey, I'm tired of seeing y'all fucking clinch. Either I'm taking points or we're switching the rules to Muay Thai right now. What do you want to do? Okay,
I don't think we could. I don't think you can make that change on the
It's
fly.
Florida. It's Florida.
It's the land of the free, baby.
But like I said, even with the point being taken away, okay, I don't know any fighter that looks at a draw as a win. I mean, a draw to me is still a loss. I'm not happy with the draw. So it doesn't really change the result that much, but it would have been a majority draw instead of I think it was unanimous.
So let's see if we can up the ante, because I'm pretty sure these guys got heat. So not just a Muay Thai fight, but do you think we can get them to do Muay Thai Extreme?
I hope so. I would love that. I hope so. Yeah.
It would really change the game. Terry's hands would be much more effective upon impact within those small gloves.
Yep. And I think that I think Kirby had a bad night out. Again, the first round, great. But once Terry made the adjustment and it was Kirby's turn to try to make an adjustment back, he just didn't make the adjustment back.
Yeah. I mean, Kirby could have used his knees a lot more. Even on the outside, Terry was giving him so much pressure. If he
he was coming in hard,
he would have landed really nasty stuff into his guts.
Yeah, this was another exciting bout from the even Victor Alvarez Jr. versus Carlos Sone.
I love this fight.
Sone or Sonye?
Sonye.
Okay. Man, I've been high up on Sonye for a minute, but he looked fantastic.
God, he looked good.
This fight.
He looked so good in this fight.
And Alvarez was such a Terminator in his last fight.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think, sometimes you knock out people quick. You score big knockouts, and it can change the way you fight. It's no different than someone having like an easy weight cut. Like, oh, I can cut 2 more pounds the next time I fight. Or, getting submissions. Like, oh, I'm going to get submission next time too. And I feel like, Vic came out kind of with that attitude of like, I'm going to land one big shot. And he changed it towards the end of the fight, but it was already too late, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I kind of looked at him like he was Derek Lewising. He's like, I know if this right
there you
hand
go.
hits you, you're
That's the
going
big
to
overhand.
sleep.
Yep.
He didn't use any kicks. He didn't use any knees. He was just throwing big hooks. And Sone was, man, his distance management was fantastic. He was
So good.
constantly attacking the hips and abdomen with his teeps. He would keep it long, 1-2s, in and out. Like, this is a big man. This is 185. And look how light he is on his toes.
Yeah. And his defense, too. His hands were up and high.
He was super diligent with his hand placement. And you have to be fighting Alvarez. Alvarez has knockout power. But
also with that is like Alvarez, go to the body. Like his high guard is so high.
Yeah.
Rip a liver shot. Make him put his hands down. Give him a reason. He was doing a good job at sticking the jab. But, Sone, man, firing on all cylinders. He looked stupid impressive. He looked like a unit, too. Like, that's a scary-looking guy. Like, he looked – I thought Vic was going to be bigger than him, and he was bigger than Vic.
Man, Sone is a stud. I know he had a hard time in his last MMA fight, or was it his first MMA fight?
That's his
maybe?
brother. That's his brother.
Oh, was it? That was Manny?
Yeah, they're brothers.
Oh, man.
So
what size gloves are they wearing?
I believe 12s.
12s or 14s.
Yeah, 12s or 14s. They're not 16s. But, yeah, man, Sone, super impressive the whole fight. He slowed down a little bit in the third round, but, I mean, with that kind of footwork at that size and that kind of movement and that kind of volume, like, you kind of expect it.
Man, you can tell that he was training really
nasty teep.
Yeah.
He stayed so good with his guard and his hand placement, and he stayed on his bicycle. It's hard for a big man to stay that bouncy and that mobile. And he was super, super diligent. You got to know that this kid was circling right for rounds upon rounds in the gym to be able to maintain. Because this cage is small.
And you can tell, too, with this fight, Vic came out in the second round. He changed the game plan, right? He's like, no, I'm coming at you. But Sone, instead of trying to exchange with him and go back and forth, he just held his guard and moved. And he's like, at this point, Vic gets a little tired. And then Vic's volume slows down. And then he starts firing back off at Vic. He starts giving Vic more. But again, I love seeing these adjustments in amateurs. They only had a 2-minute first round. And already in the second round, Vic comes out making the adjustments to switch up the game plan and try something a little different.
He was headhunting quite a bit and just really loading up, trying to drop that bomb on him, whereas Sone, just like you guys have been saying, just stayed so active, switching it up, looking and going to the body, the legs.
Yeah, and Vic's defense, he was focusing more on his head movement and not moving his feet with it. And my most famous person I can think of for that is Anderson Silva. And towards the end of his career in the UFC, he was getting knocked out because feet stayed still, head moving. Your head can only move so far. And if the person that's coming at you keeps firing and to get you to lean back too far, eventually you're getting hit. Like, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. Base is everything. Foot placement's everything. Body positioning is everything. If you don't have that, you are going to come up short in some area.
Yeah. And Sone did a good job of all of it.
And that was a slip.
Was super impressive.
That was a slip there at the end of that round.
Yeah, the jab.
That's not a style that I think works really well in MMA, but for kickboxing, fantastic. He looked super good using it. And I'm excited to see him do. You don't see big guys teep like that. He must have thrown 70, 80 teeps this fight. He was super active in his lower body. That's not a very normal big guy thing.
Yeah,
I was very falls impressed. In love with the round kick.
All right.
Man, look how long he threw that cross. Like, I don't know if you can rewind 10 seconds, but he's at full pivot, full hip extension, full shoulder turn, and he's still like a good distance away, man. Sone is long. Look at his right hand. Bing. That was 3-4 feet away, man. He is covering distance. Really good body function.
Yeah, so Sonya
I
picked
don't
up.
think I don't
Go
think
ahead.
Alvarez landed clean at all in the second and third. I think he just clipped him a bunch, but I don't think there was any
And the
solid impact.
and the second he landed that nice teep and a clean jab at the end of the round, even though it was a slip. I believe Sone was off balance throwing a teep, and he landed a jab.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those nights where Sone was just, it looks really cool. You only have to be an inch better. You only have to be a half a second faster, and it'll make the other guy look like an amateur, or like he doesn't belong in there with you, which isn't the case in this fight. But Sone was just a little better everywhere.
Man, he looked. Look at these exchanges. So remember, slips aren't supposed to be huge. You shouldn't be coming off so far that you can't counter. Sone is slipping, and you can see Alvarez's hand just pass over his shoulder, and then he's right back on. Super diligent.
And that last exchange there, I've watched that exchange about 20 times as well. He landed some shots.
Yeah, he did.
I think 10 more seconds, and he gets at least an 8 count, if not a proper down.
Yeah, it was some hard shots there at the end.
All right. That was a great performance by him. Let me cue up the next one.
Yeah. I got a lot of love for Vic, man. I love having that guy with us. I hate seeing it's so funny. You do this long enough and you become friends with everybody. You want to see everybody be successful. And this is like the worst sport to be in whenever you care about everybody, because there is no next season. There is, at least with amateurs, they're gonna have a pro career, and that's the main focus, is just getting ready for that and getting good for that. But so you don't just get to erase your record and start over once you're pro.
We're gonna pick up in the third round of Ali Trimble.
Oh no, you got to show her first. You got to show the first round. That's the most competitive round. You got that one. You got that one available.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's the round to watch.
I've said this about Ali pretty much every fight I've called for her. Her cardio is a freaking weapon.
Yeah.
And she's never tired. She's never gassed. She's not throwing power. She's not throwing anything that's going to knock you over. But she never stops. She never stops.
I was telling someone, I said, man, even when she fought Stone Cold Stephanie Calderon, even in that fight, she's getting pummeled at some points by Stephanie, and she's still throwing punches. Like, she never stopped. I was like, God, dog, what is it going to take to have, Ali's put a chink in the armor of Ali's cardio? It's not possible.
Man, and that's also a testament to her, like, mental state, because you can get tired just from frustration or just from difficulty. And she is nonstop. She does not give a damn what you do. She's throwing it.
There's a little bit of a size difference here. Brenda just turned 18. Her dad doesn't want her cutting. Yeah, her dad doesn't want her cutting a lot of weight. She's wrestled her whole life. But man, these some of these takedowns, that's a big one there. And I think that the learning point for Brenda is she's got to learn to get up off her back. Like she can't be okay down there.
It's crazy that she's a Brazilian grappler and she doesn't do jiu-jitsu. She's
wrestler. Yeah, she's like this. That moment was so dope. I thought it was over.
Great. What a transition.
I thought it was over.
I thought it was done. I was almost sure of it.
Yeah, Ali did a good job right away of attacking the elbow.
She's the second kickboxer that's transitioned to MMA and impressed us with her grappling ability. In this
her
case,
and Nomi have both.
Yeah.
And her ground and pound. Ali's ground and pound was nice once she did get on top.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
What did she do? Last 30 seconds?
At the very end of this round, she ends up finding a way to be on top. And then from there on out, she kind of meets Brenda's takedowns with her hips and ends up being on top almost every time off of Brenda's takedown attempts.
Yep. Come that third round, she was just shucking her off. Get out of here. Oh, what? She was mean, dude. She was super mean in there.
Yo, and this Brenda girl she has knockouts in wrestling from slamming girls.
No kidding. That's
she's
awesome.
she's mean. She's mean.
And she's only 18.
Just turned 18.
So, you remember Prince Money K?
Yep.
He was doing MMA at 17. Can we still do that?
Nah, you're not supposed to. We ain't fixing to do it. Kids is the one thing that I am not trying to fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fuck around and have a kid in a situation where he gets hurt, and that's the last heat you want from the state is a kid with a broken arm in an MMA fight or a kid getting knocked out in an MMA fight. And
I know I was talking with Joe Stevenson. He's the IMMAF America rep. He was saying under 18, there is not a single commission in the country that will allow head strikes under 18.
Yeah, they'll do like modified pancreation and stuff like that, but I don't want to see it either. I mean, I have a hard enough time. I've just gotten okay with team kickboxing, and we'll talk about Kurt a little later, but I think Kurt's the first team that's gotten like a highlight reel made of his fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, maybe it's the parent in me, but it's like I don't know. I don't like
you're
highlighting.
Not wrong. If Kurt wasn't as gifted as he is, I probably wouldn't let him fight full contact yet
Kurt's
either.
really good.
Yeah, man.
So this fight continued pretty much how that round ended for the next couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Brief
Let's fast
exchanges.
forward. Can we get to the end of the third round?
Yeah.
A combat night first occurs inside the Combatagon. I like watching them in fast speed. I'm not a big YouTube guy, but I just discovered you can hold down the thing and it'll fast forward times 2. So, and I can listen. I'm as long as the person doesn't have a fast cadence like me talking, I can hear everything they're saying. So if it's someone who has a really good normal speed of speech, I'm good. I couldn't imagine putting me on 2x.
I feel the same.
Or you can go all the way to the announcement, Ramsey.
Oh, okay.
For the first, this is it. Allie, great ground and pound, great job.
Yeah, she almost got an armbar there. That was
she just didn't put the right leg over the head. Pull that left leg out. Don't try to come up. Just put the left leg out. Not enough time. Not enough time.
One of the better positions she actually scored during the fight, other than the submission attempt in the first.
Yeah, that was a great performance for Allie in her MMA debut. I'm not sure what her goal is in the sport. I know she's got a big girl job and she's getting married and all those things, but she always continues to impress us.
Some people are just competitors, think about the guy who retired from fighting in his 30s, but now he's 42 and he's doing every IBJJF and new breed that comes to their city. Some guys just got to be doing something.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. I get it. I mean, I still feel that. I know a lot of guys that fight feel that way. And that's why they fight way past their career.
Yeah, dude, I'm in my early mid 40s, and I'm like, I can't imagine what my life's going to be like if I get too old or too beat up to train once or twice a week. I don't know. I'm going to go insane. I don't know what to do.
Combat night first. Charlie wanted a picture with the fighter.
Oh, yeah?
Hey.
She said, I love pink. I like pink. And she was showing her dress. Got a couple of pictures. I didn't realize Lily had come over there with me, so I ended up realizing it. I pick her up and we get a picture with her. But look, Charlie is so happy. She hates cameras, y'all. If y'all see her taking a picture and she has her fingers in her mouth and she's hiding her face.
Yep.
But man, she loved Ali Trimble. She was all about pink. As soon as she started fighting, she was talking about the pink. I want the pink to win. I was like, all right.
All right. Next up, we are going to chat about
Timmy Abdelshehid and Pablo.
Bro, talk about a dude who looked awesome. Tim was a savage. He looked so good.
Yeah, you know, I have one little issue with Tim's fight, and it's how it started. But great performance, and his opponent was ready to fight too. So he fired. You know, the initial start of the fight, right off the glove touch, they start slinging.
Tim's what, 5'11", 6 foot?
I think he's 5'11".
Dude, he is so lanky. That reach is crazy at 125.
Yeah, he's gonna grow into a bantamweight, I think. He's only 21.
Yeah.
Stephen Koslow was the same way. He was a 25er for all of his amateur career, and then his first pro fight. So right here,
Timmy with the shady glove touch.
Yeah, rewind it real quick. Listen, guys, if there's one thing you'll always get from me, it is transparency, it is honesty, it is I don't give a fuck if you're my fucking mom. If you do something I don't like or whatever, and Pablo fires right back. So, you know, for me, it's like, all right, at least Pablo fires right back. You know, it's not, and if maybe Tim wasn't going to touch gloves, but he signaled the glove touch. So I think, and I get it. I know Timmy's a most morally good, amazing human being, one of the best guys I know. Your energy's going, your adrenaline's pumping, you're like ready to fight. You know, I get it. But I think you gotta touch glove, at least take one step, at least pull the hand back to the face all the way before you fire off.
Touch one thing.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I've never seen Timmy so dialed in. Now, granted, I've only been around for 2 of his fights, maybe 3, but I got to wrap him up in the back. Dude, he was razor sharp. He was so fucking on, man.
Yeah, he looks really good.
I've never seen he was keyed up. I've never seen him like this. Granted, I've only seen him 2 or 3 times, but bro, he was ready. He's super ready.
And props to Pablo for even taking this fight, to be real. I don't know if I want to fight a guy that's works for the promotion and everyone shows mad love to. I don't know if I want to fight that guy. Fuck that, you know?
But Pablo did a good job. If you win, it's a huge boom.
Oh, yeah. And Pablo did a great job at defending a lot of stuff here in a lot of positions. But in the course of defending, you want to improve your position. You want to get better position. But in the course of defending, he got worse and worse and worse.
Which is a testament to Tim.
Yeah. Taking advantage of it and making sure he's progressing.
That build, he's so long. He's so lanky. You know, I got big fat hands and big fat wrists. It's hard to feed in. He doesn't. He's just sliding in with skinny arm. I'm so jealous of lanky dudes.
Yeah, this is miserable to be under somebody who's punching you, wrenching your jaw.
Was sharp too. His ground and pound was so nasty.
He defended this for a minute. He defended this for a while, longer than a lot of guys would have.
Yeah, man. Pablo showed out some really strong defense in there. He really dogged it out, but Tim fought a perfect fight almost.
Yeah. Doing a lot of body triangle work and back control work with Tim.
Man, with that build, you have to.
And, you know, it's one of those things. He runs over to me and says, we're going pro. We're going pro. Obviously, in the heat of the moment, it's all, you know, hell yeah. But, you know, you want to talk and watch the video back and make sure that's the right move for the next step. Again, Tim's so young.
Yeah. So you remember what Luis Perez sought out the #1 amateur in the country, and they fought in his last amateur fight. I messaged him. I was complimenting. I was like, bro, you looked amazing, super vicious, absolutely devastating. What do you want to do? I heard you said you were going to go pro, or do you want to call out the top guys in the state and in the country? What are you thinking? You know, I would love to see him shout out some big names.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that. I'm always cautious on the pro turn because there's no turning back.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about sending him to Bahrain for the World Championship, stuff like that?
I personally, I think that's as an amateur, I think it's a poor. I don't like it. I think that
Yeah.
the damage, the weight cut, the repetitive fights, the dope experience. Don't get me wrong. Like as a fighter, I'd love to do it. As a coach, a mentor, as somebody that's in the sport, I've just hear a lot of guys getting rocked and then they're fighting the next fight, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't care for that. For that reason, if there was some money involved, maybe a little different. But as a I like the travel. I like every aspect about it, but I don't like the potentially fighting 4 or 5 times in 2 days.
True. And we know there's very few concussion protocols outside of the
Yeah,
Continental 48.
and even getting hit, like just getting hit on for maybe 2 or 3 fights over the course of 2 days, and then you're fighting the best guy, the other best guy there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the last fight, it's like that is by definition what CTE is. It's like
That's
repetitive
where it
getting
comes
hit.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't even let if guys want to spar more than once a week, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Like, that's not going to get you better. That's just going to make you dumber.
Yeah.
So you guys
I
want
don't allow my guys to hard spar outside of camp. If you're not
No,
in
there's no
camp,
point.
there's no reason.
What's the point?
You can tech spar all the time, but you shouldn't be thumping that much.
Even for me, I'm of the notion that I think once you know you're tough, once you know you can take shots, once you know you can stand in the pocket and fucking exchange, like you only need to do it the first 2 weeks of your camp. And there's any other time than that, like you don't need to do it. Like, and I say that because you want to get back in and like you want to feel the shots, you want to work on your timing, and you want to get there. So like for me, it's like hard sparring only in camp, and then the first 2 weeks, like get out there and get it. But after that, you got it. You either you can take a punch or you can't, or how you react. Like if a guy turns away, it's like you turn away. You're just bad habit. Fix the shit. Good luck. Good luck fixing it. But if you can stand in the pocket, what else do you need to know? Like you're there. Save those hard shots for the fight.
Yep.
And there's still people who go out there and thug it out 2, 3 times a week. It's like, bro, you're gonna have a very sad retirement.
Yeah, unfortunately.
This was Massimo Venulejo and Nick Dulcey.
Yo, Nick Dulcey fought MMA for us a long time ago in Orlando. He reached out to me like 6 weeks ago. Like, I want to fight. I want to do kickboxing. And we couldn't find anybody because everyone had big records. It was kind of hard just to nail it down. And then this guy popped up like 2 weeks out. When I got his fight photo, Nick's dog, as you guys see. Nick's tough. I was like, oh my God. This might be a bad fight for Max. Very unassuming. In the fight photo, he was kind of like, oh, like I'm here, and even everything leading up to the fight until that bell rang. And I was like, man, this kid is just super chill. He is not afraid at all of being in here. Nick had a huge crowd, didn't phase him at all. His defense was so good. I liked he was doing some Philly shell stuff. I became a pretty big fan of Max out of round 5. He looked good. I mean, Nick didn't look bad.
He looked very good. Nick was a bruiser, but Max had like finesse.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. And Nick's cardio ended up running out, and Max fighting like that is very hard to get tired. And he was able to do what he did in the first round all the way to the 3rd round.
And Nick did have a couple of crowd pops during the fight. He had a huge section of people that were there cheering for him. And
yeah,
so that
like 60, 70 people who bought, the whole walkout section was Nick.
That's awesome.
That's just one more thing that, a guy has to overcome, kind of being in a hostile environment where there's a huge section of people cheering for your opponent.
Yeah.
For quite a few years, I didn't book any of my guys in Fort Lauderdale. I only took them out of town. I always found it very beneficial. I liked it. You get away from your girl, you get away from your mom, you get away from your buddies, you just get in the hotel, you cut your weight, you show up, there's no one's coming to see you, there's no one that wants to talk to you before the fight. you just get to go into enemy territory. No one expects you to win. No one wants you to win. And you get to go in there and make some people upset.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'd rather
rather
fight out of town. Again, hit the Waffle House after. That's like, for me, it's out of town all day, every day. I love fighting out of town. I hate fighting in town. It's not, for me, it makes it way more nerve-wracking to fight in my hometown.
Yeah, I don't want my mom to come and not tell me, and then I find out later. She's like, when you were bleeding, I was so terrified.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want my girl there. Like, I don't need this distraction. It's murder time, not cuddles and fun time. Dudes that bring their chicks on the road blow my mind.
I mean, yeah, it works for some guys. I don't think that women and kids should be, especially on fight week. I just feel like you should try to isolate yourself. It's so funny. I've seen multiple guys in the UFC fighting for belts. One of the most ones that pop to mind right now is Cody Garbrandt when he was defending against TJ Dillashaw, and his whole embedded week was with his newborn baby and his girl, and I'm like,
nope,
bet the house on TJ.
Yes, man's here to cuddle. Like, he's in cuddle mode.
I remember when I first had Caden, having to I was still trying to I wanted to be a fighter still and take another fight or two. So I was cuddling with this little ball of joy that I love so much, and getting in my car and driving to the gym, and I'd be like, man, you gotta fucking you gotta snap out of this, bro. You gotta be ready. You gotta go to this gym. I'd put on music and I'd try to amp myself up, and I started drinking Cortaditos a lot every day because it would pump me up, and it was but I know I'm not, and I've never been an affectionate or lovey-dovey guy until when I had kids, everything changed for me. So I'm sure that's the case for most people. Getting a little softer with kids. So to have your kid with you on fight week and your woman with you on fight week and being comfortable, I don't know. Each to their own, but I just don't think it's a good idea.
Dude, I think back and I remember almost how the aircon in a hotel is never that good. It's always a little too cold or a little that discomfort. I found comfort in those moments for some reason.
Yeah, it's almost it's a familiar feeling. It's a familiar feeling. Might not be a good feeling, but it's still familiar.
Yeah. And
this fight, man, I have a lot of love for both of these guys, Geardy and Brian. Thugged it out this whole fight. At no point did either of these guys wilt or say, didn't act like they didn't want to fight anymore. This fight came together at the end. Geardy had a different opponent, and 2 weeks out, Geardy's opponent was I can't fight him. He's too tough. And I was like, oh, you got his name 6 weeks ago. What do you mean? And we went above and beyond to confirm that fight. And then Brian, same thing, not same thing, but his opponent pulled out with an injury, and it was perfect. Same weight class. I was like, man, I'm not going to lie. I really hate to see these two guys fight each other because, believe it or not, Geardy's 0-2 in MMA and Brian's 1-2 in MMA. But, man, they are so much better than their records say.
Man, that's the thing in Florida. You might be 0-2 or 1-2 and still just be an absolute machine who just took harder fights than they maybe should have early on.
I'm going to add one little correction of that. That's the thing in combat night. If you're good and you're fighting for these scrub ass promotions and you're not fighting for combat night and Rise of a Warrior, I even throw island fights in that category. You just, you could, and there's guys that suck that could be 5-0 and they come over to us and it's like, oh my God, what happened? But yeah, you're right. Florida has a lot of really solid talent, and at combat night, we're gonna put the best talent versus the best talent and may the best man win. I don't want to see, especially in the amateurs. I do not want to see anybody take a beating for free or be outmatched. And I don't want to see that. Not in our cage. I want to see a good competitive amateur fight. Get them ready for the pros.
And this was a well-matched card.
No. Second best matchmaker in the state made it, bruh. A lot of changes in the final week. At one point, we had like 21 fights. And then in the final week, we were down to like, I think 12 at one point. And, rematching some stuff and fixing some stuff. And honestly, I think we ended with 14. And those that was like perfect. All the fat was trimmed off. All of the, maybe not, I'm not going to say not so great fights, but the fights that we just didn't know how they were going to go. There were still a few fights on here that we weren't sure because I hadn't seen either guy fight before, but the camps they come out of, I kind of knew they were going to come in and throw down. But, yeah, it was like a perfect number of fights, very competitive. All of them were very good. And this is it. This fight, I feel like if Brian had gotten the takedown earlier, maybe we have a different result for the end result because he landed takedowns, I think, at the end of every round with like 10 to 15 seconds left. And it's like, man, if you go out there and get that takedown to start the round, it didn't look. And I also heard Gertie's corner saying, just rest here, grab him, rest here, just rest here.
It's the last 10 seconds. You've been ahead for the last 2 minutes.
So who knows if Gertie would have been able to get up, but his corner was definitely telling him not to try to get up, like chill.
There's no reason to burn that much gas. 10 seconds.
And that's pretty much, I felt like that first, are we in the third round? Yeah, I feel like every round was pretty similar to the set. Like, same situation. Gertie was a little bit better at distance management, at counter shots. He used his range really well, and Brian couldn't really figure him out on the feet. And then into the round, takedown.
Yeah, I mean, Gertie took his time. He had 5 or so kickboxing and Muay Thai fights before going into MMA. And he's fighting with a nickname of like the Darce Knight, if I remember correctly.
So I always thought his.
No, you're good.
No, I always thought the Darce Knight. I bet he's gonna have some fire jiu-jitsu.
Right.
3 MMA fights. I've seen 0 Darce attempts. I'm just saying
we
might have to change that name.
He's using it as a distraction. So people worry about the Darce, and then he switches it up.
There was someone else. Oh, Phoenix. Man, I always mess up his last name, and he gets so mad. He doesn't like people like messing up his last name. But my last name, eBay. There you go. Same thing with him. His name for a while on Instagram was something about jiu-jitsu, and he was doing kickboxing. But he came out and he's got solid jiu-jitsu.
I always tell guys, like, I've had a few conversations over time where I was like, I want to show people I can bang. I want to show people I can do this. I'm like, stop. If you're out wrestling people or you're taking them down and submitting them or ground and pounding them, no one has to know how good your striking is.
Yeah.
They have to earn that.
And vice versa. If you got amazing striking, like, don't, stay in your wheelhouse until someone makes you step out of it.
And then you have a better chance of surprising them because they just assumed you sucked at it. That's why you didn't do it.
Ali, good example is Nomi, the brat, in her last fight. I didn't know her jiu-jitsu was going to be good.
Dude, that armbar was so tight.
Out of nowhere, too. She got taken down, and I was like, oh, this is drama.
I thought the same thing. Bang.
This fight, both of these teams, amazing. Riccardi had a great game plan for Kurt and coming in and closing the distance and using that, getting rid of that range. Kurt had a good answer for the game plan. He was doing a good job at the distance management and using the knees when he did come in. Thank God Ricardo wasn't dipping his head very hard because I was afraid. I was like, God, I don't want to see a teenager get a huge cut on his head. Because Kurt was throwing him to the body. Very good job at not trying to throw him to the head. but I was very scared. Like, man, if Ricardo dips into one of those, it's a bad night.
Yeah. Man, Ricardo did a really good job of landing that overhand. You know, he was slipping in. I think in the second round, Kurt started catching him. When he'd slip, he'd chop him with the head kick.
Yeah.
And he rocked him a few times. The stomp kick up the middle, you'll see at the end of the first, man, that catches him flush, snapped his head way back. The range was so well managed for the most part.
Yeah, and this kid was so tough, man. Ricardo really took some big shots from Kurt, and kept coming forward, kept slinging heat. If this was an adult fight, I think it continues. I like Troy's stoppage where he stopped it.
I thought he'd stop it one earlier.
Yeah, he could have, but I was okay with it because Ricardo was definitely he wanted to be in there. But yeah, for team fights, it's always err on the side of caution.
100%.
Man, and when Kurt grows into his body, bro, God, that kid's gonna be a unit.
Bro, he's strong as hell right now. I think by the time he graduates high school, he'll be like 170. He's like 144 right now.
That was it. That little.
I get in the cage with him, like, dude, what's with the hammer fists? And he's like, they fucking worked, didn't they? Yeah, that was it.
I mean, you know, sometimes they tell you like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. But at the end of the day, if it works, it works.
Yeah. So
that was the hammer fists were pretty cool. They were pretty funny. He got the reel they made today. The social media team made a reel for him today, and it was the hammer fist.
Yeah. He was throwing that like an old school karate chop.
Yeah.
Right in the flow too.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was not it looked very intentional, and it wasn't ugly, you know. It was very intentional, and in the middle, like straight hook.
Yep. If it's not gonna strike, it's a good hand strip. Better for elbow fighting, but good for dunk.
Brian, we'll talk about that fight, the Aldo Dominguez fight, my guy. That's next. And I disagree with you.
Yo, drop that back 10 seconds. Check this read.
Yeah, that head kick was nasty. He went right into it. Right here. Yeah.
Pushes him back, catches him with that uppercut hook on pressure, just smoothed it out. Dot, and then whacked him over top.
Overhand again.
Bing.
Or hammer. And Kurt got hit with some big shots and didn't phase him.
He really did. I was telling him in between rounds, like, bro, you're chasing this knockout. Like, he really wanted to finish. He was upset he didn't finish in his first fight with Xavier. And I was like, it will be there. Just do your work.
Yeah.
You don't rush. Rushing gets you hit. But he just wanted it so bad.
Good guard too. He played. He definitely he wanted that hammer fist there.
Dude, he doesn't train it. He doesn't throw those hammer fists in the gym, virtually ever.
Well, good.
He goofs around with them on the bag or on the bob, and that's it.
Yeah.
He just plays with them.
Well, that's a good sign. Good fight IQ to see it working and.
Yeah.
So stoppage.
Kurt never watched anime, and I got him to watch Hajime no Ippo, the boxing anime, and he watched the whole entire thing and the movies in like 3 weeks. So he was telling us, he's like, if we got 10 seconds left and he's near the fence, yell Dempsey roll, and I'll start Dempsey rolling and whamming overhand. And he got a little excited when you saw that hook flurry where he was just banging on him.
Yeah.
He should have been dipping. That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
But to think you can be...
Go ahead.
No, I was like, to be 17 and so present in thought that you're like, yo, call out that thing from the show I like, and I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
And then to actually hear it from the corner and give it a whirl is crazy.
Yeah.
My nerves would never have allowed that.
No, not me either.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine. I say it all the time, being that young and having the skills that these guys have. Like, man, I just don't know what I would do if I was that. I would be a douchebag. I probably would be.
It would be easy to as well. he was telling me he's pretty well known in his gym. I have a relatively good following on Instagram.
Yeah,
And so he's like, kids come up to me showing me videos of me doing stuff. I'm like,
that's dope.
hey,
Yeah, in
how
this
cool is
fight,
that?
this is probably my fight of the night. This is a big both these guys threw down. Aldo was landing way more on the feet and with bad intentions. And Bravo was getting some good takedowns. Aldo defended some, but Bravo took him down at least in every round. So here we go. We got a takedown. The problem with Bravo and what he has got to correct for his next fight is he has to do something with it. Posture and strike. I mean, guard's wide open. And there's no attempt, right?
Yeah, he's just happy to be there.
He's hugging him. So, Brian, note to yourself, you got to always look to improve position. Because look what happens. The fight, he's trying to improve position, and now Aldo gets up, right?
Well, props to Aldo. Aldo didn't give him time to settle in and make offense. Aldo's ass hit the floor, and he got right to work.
Yep, and he was hitting him. He was punching him from the bottom. He was, doing everything he could to get up and get out of these takedown attempts. But you see, here's the problem: is we're just hugging. You've got to strike. You've got to look to improve position, and
but
you can
see Aldo was framing the hip the entire time. Yep. If he let go to strike, he was going to get stuck back in guard, and he didn't want that. Yep. So Aldo is creating the predicament for Bravo, so Bravo doesn't have the option to attack him because he will lose control of the situation. It's a really strong play by Aldo.
Yeah, and in the first round, Bravo does a great job. He starts to get a little tired in the middle of the second round, and he's really, there's some positions where he's just like body locking him from the top. Like he's in this position here, and he's there for 10 or 12 seconds. Like, just like, fuck. Just a little bit of like turn him off the cage, pull him off the cage, posture, strike. Guard's wide open, pass, But he didn't have a very good top half guard. He didn't feel comfortable there, at least it didn't look like.
Yeah.
He felt very comfortable here. But we've been here now for 20 seconds. We start to try the pass. And look, he tries to pass him once again. Aldo gets up.
Yeah. Guys, if you are an MMA fighter and you are a wrestling-based fighter, get comfortable in half guard. It is the ultimate top position for MMA.
And if you're on bottom, learn half guard because it is the shittiest position to be in, especially if you don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, and honestly, it only takes 2 or 3 key details to get you out. Yeah. It's a very mobile position if you play it right.
A lot of guys on bottom lay flat. They don't frame properly. They don't do a lot of things properly. Even the UFC, I see it.
If you allow me to cuss, as a rule of thumb, I was taught in half guard, flat is fucked. Period. Yep. If you are on your back, you are out of luck. You are going to lose that position.
Man, Aldo throws everything with such bad intentions. His game plan didn't change at all. After getting taken down a couple times in the first round, he didn't care. He was still slinging heat.
Yeah, man. I'm close with his coach, Jeremiah. Jeremiah was telling me, I know your kid's up next, but stay nearby and watch Aldo fight. Watch this kid throw down. And he did not disappoint. Aldo was a dog. Hey, we got Timmy in the chat. Do you think he wants to talk with us?
Possibly. See what's up.
I will.
So, and this takedown, at this point, Bravo needed that, right? But you see, look, he's literally just holding on, staying in the guard. Remember, we're in fast time here, guys. So while it looked like that might have been 10, 15 seconds, that was like 25 seconds.
But also, he's been getting his cage rattled left and right by Aldo. So when he got on top, he was
rewind that 10 seconds. And let's watch that in slow motion. Or not slow motion, but normal speed. Like 50 seconds left. This is crazy what Aldo does here. Yeah, right here. He pulls. What? Look at this. Bop, hits him. Sprawls. Like, yo, this is a 2-0 amateur.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, Jeremiah, if you're in the Cape Coral area, get with Futures, get with Jeremiah. He is producing absolute units. His guys' striking is ferocious. Their anti-grappling is real good. and all of them are fucking dogs. The guys at Futures do beautiful work, and they're not afraid to cross train. They go out to Fusion, they go down to Naples and visit Crafton, they go to Cosmos. They spread it up and down that West Coast. Those guys like to get into it. Jeremiah does a great job with them.
Yeah, I've trained with those guys a few times. I like them. All those guys are real good. But even here, the pass is right there. Bravo, we got to pass. We got to step over that leg. He's in a great position too because his head's on the cage.
Yeah,
I got a lot. I like the Bravo kid a lot, Jose Bravo. I think, I think with the right adjustments, he's going to be in style. He's going to be like a Johan.
Yeah.
The way he grapples,
even if his striking it doesn't like jump, but he just turns into like a ground and pound machine.
yeah.
A Sean Sherrick, a fucking Fedor, like with how he postures his body, I could see him Fedoring punches big time.
Yeah.
Tim, check your IG if you want to jump in.
Luis Perez is in the chat dropping names.
Let's see that. Said he wants Nicholas Campbell.
Look up Nicholas Campbell.
Hey, we got Scoot. What's up with Scoot, Lewis? He's itching to fight. A lot of good Muay Thai gyms in Miami, to be honest with you. I might be a little biased because I fuck with Bushido hard. Bushido went 4-0 on this last event. So, I like Bushido. I like the camaraderie, the teamwork, the guys there all down the bang.
Were they a different name or are they generally new? Because I started hearing about them last year.
No, Manny Bushido Muay Thai was the original owner and head coach, and he sold it when he moved to Orlando. But they've been around for about, I'd say, 10 years, 7, 8 years.
I knew them solely as Bushido Muay Thai. They didn't have a ton of MMA guys. I know Elvin started an MMA program with them, I think around the time that Manny sold it. But they've been doing really good, man. They really produced something nice recently.
Hey, Lewis, man, y'all both want to know as pros. I'm just saying, y'all both want to know the pros. Let's leave the amateurs in the past where it belongs.
Tier Furl Rug was asking for a good Muay Thai gym in Miami. Bushido Muay Thai has stayed really consistent. There's another gym called Beautiful Violence that does a really old school Muay Thai program. Their guys compete pretty well.
Lucky's.
Yeah, Lucky's Muay Thai. Lucky has a great program. That's my homie. We used to work in a bar together. I can't believe he didn't pop in my head first. Lucky's got a great spot.
What else we got? Hector and Josh Pierre. Live, I was very I thought Josh had unanimously won that fight. Watching it back, I still think Josh did enough to get the win. But it's not egregious that Hector won. Could have went.
No, this fight was super even. Those guys were really getting after it. But Joshua was aggressive. What a machine.
Yeah, I mean, this was the whole fight. They were throwing down, back and forth, going after it.
Man, Manara's tough, dude. He absorbed a lot of damage in there and kept bringing it, bro.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time they got into a clinch, I was a little worried. Did not want no hectable.
Was there any explanation on that? Did he just lose his shit for a second? Did he overdo his microdose? What's going on?
He just apologized a lot. He's like, I don't know what happened. I've never done that in the gym. I don't know why.
He's the biter.
Yeah.
I told him, man, he got to come up with a nickname. Hannibal. Hector.
So what you two?
Manara.
No, dude, it's Chomp Chomp. Hector Chomp Chomp Manara. Dude, that's a dope nickname, okay? He's getting announced as that. Write that down. We got to make a note. No matter what.
Miles.
Next time he comes to Combatagon. Chomp Chomp.
Yo, the crazy thing is, he just turned 18. But his last fight, he had just turned 18. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not making excuses for someone biting somebody. Like, a bite's a bite, whatever. He didn't break the skin. It was like enough for like a little impression and whatever. But like, grown men are like, oh, you should never fight again, ban him for life. And I'm like, nah, we're gonna have him back as soon as possible. 18 years old, raised.
It was just a love bite.
Please tell me if you've never done anything stupid when you were 18, 19, 20, 21.
I mean, I never bit a guy.
Never bit a guy, but I'm sure everyone did something stupid that they're ashamed of.
Sure.
And imagine getting banned from something because of a mistake. It's like, yeah, I'm cool with it.
If he took a chunk of his pec, okay. I
yes.
get it. But he just wanted to buy him dinner later.
Yeah, he was hungry. He needed Snickers.
What?
You're not the same when you're hungry.
Yeah, you can tell even in this fast motion, man, these guys were nonstop.
Yeah.
Maybe
every other fight has looked like, oh, we can kind of see what's going on. This fight's like, looks like an anime fight.
It reminded me of the Tasmanian Devil dust cloud.
The old feet on the shoulders recovery.
I don't use that position for recovery.
I thought it was so funny when Johan
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, did he free you?
Yeah, it's got him loading. I only got to watch a little bit of this fight, but they were both just buzz saws. Like, the output was crazy. I'm going to message Tim to check his messages. I'd love to get
people ask
Tim.
Mitchell, why do you have so many phones?
Did the battery die?
This is why I got so many phones.
I got at least 2.
Yeah, the battery died. Nah, the real reason is for cameras, for social media.
Let's see.
So, Mitchell, Miles and I keep talking about this. Miles says Orlando is the #1 fight city in Florida. I say Broward is the #1 fight city in Florida. Now, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. But can we do like Broward, Miami versus Orlando?
We do those fights often, man. We just had Timmy's from Orlando. He just fought somebody from Broward, from South Florida.
He's talking about a whole card, like an intentional.
Yeah, like top fight city. We just, none of it matters. We just tally who won more fights, which city.
What was that?
It was a little rain cloud when you did double thumbs down.
That's crazy. All right. The reason I say no is because, our goal is to pack a building, and they're so far away from each other. I would do a Tampa or Orlando. We've done like a Georgia, Tallahassee. I would say, based off of what we do in our stuff, Jacksonville's got the best fighters. They travel the entire state whenever they fight. They go to Tallahassee, they go to Orlando, they go to South Florida. They have the most guys that have made it to the UFC out of our little pool of guys or whatever. And they find success in every city. Now that is a small number of people, so it's hard to but I would say next would probably be Orlando, and that is because Orlando travels just as much as as Jacksonville. Not really Orlando. Fusion travels as much as Jacksonville, which is again a small, like probably the same amount as the Jacksonville people. And they find a lot of success all over the state. So the Broward guys don't travel a whole lot. They don't.
Yeah, I remember one year we talked about that. You're like, I was one of the only gyms that would go to all the cities.
Yeah, they don't travel a whole lot, and it's kind of a bad idea. If you're a amateur fighter, you should want the experience of traveling to someone else's hometown, not having your own bed, your microwave, your kitchen. You should want that experience. You should not be content going through your whole amateur career fighting in your hometown. You should want to get out of that comfort zone and go experience what it is to fight on the road. It's just going to help you because as a pro, you're going to have to do it. If you want to make something in the sport, like you're going to have to do it.
Yeah. Well, you don't want your first road trip to be a freaking UFC.
No.
Tim has traveled and fought anywhere. He's letting us know in the chat. He does it.
Who's that?
Tim.
Tim's fought in Fort Myers, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Broward, St. Pete, and Orlando. I think him and Val Woodburn.
That's every fight. Every fight has been different.
The Val Woodburn,
Val Woodburn, him, Shane Mistretta are the guys that have Mikey Conlon are guys that have really fought in a lot of our cities. But Timmy and Val, it's very hard to fight in all the cities we've been to, especially Fort Myers, because that was just a one-off event we ran for somebody else. So Timmy has taken full advantage of that ability to travel.
Are we going back to St. Augustine? That venue was dope.
You mean St. Pete?
St. Pete, yeah.
I love that
classic old place. That venue was awesome.
Yeah, Luis Perez is another one. He's fought in a lot of different cities as well. Tallahassee, he went up there and made his pro debut. Not to shortcut Eduardo on his fight, man. He came out in the first round, and they were kind of just thugging it out, slugging back and forth. And then in the second and third round, he came out and really smart. He fought a very smart fight, a lot more technical, and took his time and found the TKO. And the guy he fought is tough as nails, man. Emmanuel is not a featherweight. He wanted to fight at bantamweight, couldn't get him a fight, and last minute, Eduardo's opponent dropped, and Emmanuel said, "I'll fight him." I think Emmanuel's a 25er, if I'm being real.
Jeez.
I mean, you can see the size difference, especially in the hand raise.
Eddie's super tall.
Yeah, when you see the hand raise, you'll see there's a significant size difference here. So I'm excited to get Emmanuel back in there at 125 and get him another crack at it. But hats off to both these guys for taking the short notice against one another. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
a size
reasonable difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was laying in the back for a little while, a little beat up, chilling. Emmanuel did. He got banged up pretty good. Eddie is not a small kid.
This next one is Jeremiah Maraus and Jesus Mendes.
Bushido again, man. Hats off to them. Jesus is no walk in the park. He's a very, very, very tough dude. And you look at the two physiques and you're thinking like, oh man, Jesus is gonna. I had a few people comment about it after the weigh-in photos and the weigh-in stuff, and boy, they were wrong. Bushido came in ready to throw down in this fight. Jeremiah was a little unit in there. Very smart, good feints, crisp, just very crisp. And this is his debut. I keep saying that, man. The MMA in Florida just gets better and better. These guys improve every single time they come out. And it's cool to see a gym like Bushido who has, obviously they're majority of a Muay Thai gym, but they've got more and more MMA fighters and are really putting together some good guys. Jeremiah there gets a takedown initially, grabs the head for a guillotine, gets the underhook as he falls, gets right back up. It's not easy to do.
No, his anti-wrestling, his defensive pummeling and framing was fantastic.
Yeah,
he did all that work on the move.
Yeah, and a debut. Like, so many guys settle when they get taken down at all levels. UFC, the highest levels in the sport, you see guys who just settle and accept a position. And here we have Jeremiah, who has now gotten up 3 times in a row after being taken down. And in the process of getting up, he's peppering, he's punching, he's not giving up submissions. That's a lot going on, especially for a guy making his debut.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. And you kind of already know his style just by looking at how he stands.
Yeah.
You know exactly. His hands are heavy just by how he holds them. His posturing is fantastic. He did really great in there.
Dude looks like a little gorilla.
It's true.
And man, the hook he lands is so. I thought Jesus was still there live because his eyes were wide open. Like he got hit with a hook. But then I watched it back a few times, and it's like, man, the lights were on, but no one was home.
Oh, when he went down?
Yeah. I don't know if you'll see it from this angle or not, but tell Wayne to hit up Richard. Blick Draw McGraw. If not, shoot us a message on Combat Night. Get with us, we'll get you taken care of.
Let's look at that finish one more time.
Sorry, I was talking to a comment.
He Supermaned in and got clipped.
But you can see that slip go with his right hand. Bink. Right on the button. Yeah. That's what shook him.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that Superman. I just watched the finish punch. But he was definitely rocked on that Superman.
And beautiful posture on that ground and pound. He was really maximizing the space that he had and his ability to torque his shoulders.
Super accurate.
He hadn't thrown a lot of heavy leg kicks before trying that Superman. I feel like that's something you really got to set up and really understand your range. And he
was way too close for a jumping strike.
Yeah.
Like you saw it landed kind of high elbow, like top of the head.
Yeah, no power.
But it was just right where it needed to be.
And I think the last one is the Diego fight. Is that the last one?
There's Miguel Ramos and Rada Jarma, and then Diego LaMonica in Francisco.
Yeah, Miguel Ramos, great wrestling. And when I talk about guys settling and being okay with a takedown, that's what Rod did. Rod was very okay with being taken down and being in the bottom position. You got to fight like you're the third monkey on Noah's Ark, and you want your spot. Like that. That's the best way to tell someone how to get up from a takedown. Like it don't matter how you do, what you do. But do not settle. Do not just lay on your back. You gotta move. You gotta be persistent. You gotta be relentlessly trying to get up.
Yeah, they still sweating the ring girl from Tallahassee.
Yo, Benny Bang Bang like some thick.
That's hilarious.
Hey, shout out to her. Last minute replacement came through.
Last minute, the night of, stepped up on 0 hours notice.
She was cool, man.
That's what right there loved about her.
Right there. He's not only rewind that 10 seconds, please.
Mm-hmm.
We need Andy.
I'm Andy right now.
All right, Ramy. Look, he's going for submission. One, if you're going for submission, at the point where you realize you're not getting it, start using that submission to get up. Everyone knows there's a point. Okay, I don't have it. I need to use it to get up. Watch what happens whenever he should be going toward the cage right now. He should be getting his back on the cage. But watch what happens when the submission's gone. I just want to lay
He
back
just
real
lays
quick.
back.
I'm gonna push myself away from the cage. That's gonna help me.
I mean, I understand. Like, I was a guard player. Like, it took me getting beat on pretty good to be like, wait a minute, this is a bad idea. But when you're confident in your guard, at least, or you're comfortable getting up from there, you can take that minute to but it's not the smart thing to do.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but as the fight progresses, Rod is less and less trying to get up and create, or he would like get right there, but like there was no urgency. It was like, oh, almost, but
Too,
there's
like,
no
just too
urgency.
cash.
Yes, right here. There's a few moments where he was using the cage, but like, yo, shrimp, boom, get up, feet on hips, push off. He kept giving him that. He kept giving him the underhook too. He kept, instead of going for his underhook, he kept reaching across. Gotta get that elbow tight.
But also he's super lanky.
Oh
So
yeah, and
it's
Miguel was
so
not.
much more difficult, right, to make that space because he's got to get those long ass limbs in. So can we hook Ben up with the Tallahassee ring girl, or what?
Come on,
At least
bro.
make an introduction.
She's a foot taller than him.
Hey,
Ben
the
Ben
heart
knows
wants
Ben
what the
knows
heart wants.
Ben knows her IG.
Ben, shoot your shot. Take screenshots. We will have a segment on the show. We'll do a special episode. Okay.
Yeah, I got money that Ben's already shot his shot. I'm just saying. I got money that Ben's already in her DMs.
And he just said bang bang.
Bang bang, motherfucker.
Mountains are meant to be climbed. I feel there's a love connection here, guys.
There was a lot of highly motivated people dead on the side of Mount Everest right now. Keep that in mind, Ben.
That's true. Death by snoo. I mean, Rad did a better job of getting up than from what I saw. I was in the back prepping Kurt, but
Yeah.
he
It was
did a
like,
really good job of getting up, man. But he
yeah,
just couldn't create the space.
yeah, his elbow,
Miguel's all over him.
he keeps letting Miguel like stay attached. Instead of using his elbow to get inside and again the
shows
urgency. Like, yo, you're
he
up.
did
Now it's time to move.
You can tell he did a ton of training on getting up, but he didn't do a ton of training on separating.
That moment right here, almost so good. Yeah, he's right there. Get the other hook in.
Yeah.
Worry about position
so
first.
Close.
Oh, and he fell off the side right here.
Yep.
Position.
Do you remember back in the day when it was like luta libre versus jiu-jitsu, and the defining factor was position over submission versus catch on scramble? And jiu-jitsu dominated the wars just by controlling position to set up submission.
Yeah, and not
it's
letting
always
those
position
scrambles
first.
happen.
Yeah, man. Scrambling is definitely more fun to watch and participate in, but nothing's as clean as just locking it down.
And it really takes two to scramble. If one guy is just trying to fucking keep position and not flow to the next position, I mean, good luck creating scramble. It's going to be very hard. You got to work extra
Super hard. Yeah.
And I know Rod will be back. Rod took this loss very hard. Was not happy with it. And Miguel did such a great job at implementing his game plan and fighting his fight.
As crazy as this might sound, he's fighting almost identically to Bravo, but notice how different it is.
Yeah. Improving position, throwing punches.
Yeah.
Not staying in his guard.
Yeah. I love what I'm seeing. A little old school. Kind of gives me a flashback to my era. I don't know about you, Mitchell, but like I've never found anything as satisfying as like really nasty ground and pound. Like
No,
as a competitor.
I love it's because it takes a lot to get to that point. It's a lot of control, a lot of technique, a lot of talent and skill to get there. So I love this moment because he tries to pick up Rod, and Rod's like, "Get the fuck off me." They don't say that. His body language says it, but that's my attitude. Like, yo, if you know you just won the fight, don't touch me. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Like, bro,
This
let
was
me wallow in this for a minute.
this was a
I get
great
it.
moment for Miguel because he's 30 years old. He was 0-2, picks up his first win, and
Yeah.
so it's like that's got to feel great to figure it out. So hard to come back, after taking 2 losses, and it's not like you're 19 years old or 20 years old. Like, I know that was a special moment for him.
Yeah.
There's nothing like your first win. And if you have to wait to get it, it's got to be that much more like intoxicating.
Yo, and Miguel was the nicest guy. I mean, he even said something to me like more or less like basically saying Rod was real tough and that he had no doubt he'd be back. It was like Miguel was super nice. This was a
I
real
find most guys are really nice.
Rod said, "I told him to fuck off and let me kill myself for a sec."
I believe it. Yo, I believe it. I literally giggled because like I'm with Rod on that. Like, yo, don't fucking touch me. Don't put my fucking hand up, bitch. Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Like you insult me. Ugh.
Yeah. This fight was a great fight to kick off the card with. Diego and Francisco, man, they threw down. And there were some people saying like, "Oh, Diego didn't want to be in there." I'm sorry, but the ref told him multiple times, "Fight back," and he fought back. I mean, like a madman. Like you can't tell me that he didn't want to be in there just because
Like
these
the
moments
third
like
monkey
this.
on the ramp to Noah's Ark.
Yes, there's moments like that where he got teed off on for like 10 or 12 punches, but as soon as the ref's saying fight back, he fought back.
And holy shit, are there so many guys with so much experience that can't listen to a ref or their corner?
Yeah, to be able to hear that and go, okay, I gotta fight back.
Yeah, that's it's hard to be that present, when you're in the heat of the shit.
Yo, and in the third round, maybe second round, this kid gets kneed in the nuts. I don't think Chris had the best vantage point to call that or not call it. And it was kind of like on the side of the groin still. It's a nut shot. And he got an 8 count instead of a 5 minute, whatever. And he got right back to it, ready to fight.
Oof. My balls. Pardon me.
The nut shot moment's actually really funny because he dips off to hold his nuts, and right whenever he does it, the guy throws an uppercut, and it's like he like spins and misses. Right there's a moment, yeah, where he's like, "No, I'm here to fight." Diego came up to me after the fight and was like, "I hope this means I won't be the first fight of the night next time." And I chuckled and said, "Nah, that's the kind of fights we want to be the first fight of the night."
It sets the tone.
Yeah.
And Francisco walked out to that Viking war chant.
Yes. I don't know what fight it was. I think it might have been this fight, but there were some funny moments where the corners were like giving all out instructions and like demonstrating with one another. It might have been the Aldo fight too. Yeah.
Bro, if you're teaching in between rounds, like What?
Yeah, it don't mean the guy's not good. It just means like, yo, what do you think? Like, I know where your mind's at, but yo, he is.
You've had at least a few weeks to sort this out. You
Yeah,
didn't do any research beforehand. I know
now's
I
not the
annoy the
time.
shit out of you because I'm like, do you have video? Can you send me their name? What gym are they at? Who's their
Yeah.
coach? And you're like, God, shut the like. Hey, like I'm gonna have to find it. We can save time, and if you have it, you know. But it's crazy to be like, okay, tonight's the night. Oh, by the way, remember this lesson plan.
Yeah, there was a few times where Francisco just kind of settled and stood in front of Diego, like flat-footed. Just kind of let him tee off. Got a little equipment malfunction, and
Yeah. And that one, that first knee, I think was a body shot. I watched that back a lot. His shin might have come up and hit him a little bit, but the knee was definitely in the belly. Here's it.
The fact that he didn't gas out with all those huge flurries is impressive.
Yeah.
yeah, I want to watch that flurry in real time. 'Cause he looked like a rock'em sock'em robot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Kick.
12, 13.
Dude,
14,
those knees were really nasty. He had good hip extension on those.
But look,
And he
this
worked
guy's
him
like,
right
nah,
under the
I'm
elbow.
here, bruh.
And time's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and all Francisco came to me and said after the fight was, I'm sorry, I'll be back with better cardio. I'm like, I don't know, bro. That was a tough debut. Here's the knee, I think, to the nuts. Maybe not.
That midsection was getting battered.
Oh yeah.
Nothing sucks more than like when someone digs their toes underneath your belly button and your bladder. Ugh. Okay, a liver shot sucks more, but like you know what I'm saying.
This guy was
Dude,
tough,
his
man.
reach is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in this round alone, he's taken 6 or 7 hard shots to the belly.
Anyone who says this guy don't want to be here, right here is the moment where he can say, I don't want to be here. And look what he does. Gloves up.
Mind you, we saw in the Tallahassee show, a guy got waved off at the 8-second mark because instead of putting his gloves up and telling the ref he wanted to fight, he leaned back on the cage like, I'm good, what's up? And like,
Yeah.
you are telling me directly that you do not want to fight.
Wanna
Your hands
fight.
are down, you're leaning back. And then he was mad. It's like, bro, if you want to fight, you got to get to it.
Right there. Look at the uppercut. Go back like 5 seconds. Look at the uppercut he misses with. He hits him in the nuts and then goes for the
Tiger
Hadouken.
uppercut.
Nasty body shot. Boom, right to the nuts. Whoop. Spun around. Oh, shit. Not again.
No.
And Chris was like, nah, bro, we're giving you the 8 count. But I think earlier it wasn't a nut shot. So, and look, he all right, let's go. He could have quit right there too. And by nut shot, it was really like a groin. It wasn't like on the nuts.
Yeah,
No,
it was like
on
in
the-
the
yep.
like in the psoas.
Still below the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fights. All these fights are so good.
All right, we just did a 2-hour recap of 6 hours of action.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Mitch is gonna have to charge his car again.
It's probably
I
off.
know. Yeah, that's what I did to start this podcast, was charge it up.
All right, well, that was if you're still hanging in there with us, drop a little fist in the chat.
Not like that though.
It's that one.
Like this or like that. Yeah.
Like
Don't
that.
do the why I oughta.
Yeah. See.
All right,
So
so we'll
next
be
up,
we'll be in Fort Pierce for Rise of a Warrior in
March
March.
15th.
And then more Combat Night Pro action coming at you on April 5th.
5th.
That'll
Orlando,
be in
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. And then we'll be back in Fort Lauderdale at the end of the month on the 26th.
Yep.
So
And then May
can
17th in
I ask
Jacksonville.
you? Can I ask you an announcer question?
No.
If this would be allowed?
No.
I've got a. Okay, never mind.
What's your question, bro?
I came up with a nickname for one of my guys who's fighting on Rise, but I don't know if you would let Miles say it.
It's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be Miles. I think it's gonna be
Paul.
Paul Strange. But what's the nickname?
Okay, so the guy's name is Bill, and as Western fans, there's Wild Bill Hickok, so we were gonna call him Wild Bill Thickcock.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that'll float on Rise.
I mean, I say like for me, whatever the fighter wants, as long as it's not offending, anybody or whatever, like run it. That shouldn't be offensive to anybody. And now
just
we don't have a snowflake crown.
We're back in the Trump era, baby.
It's true. It's true.
It's okay to say gay.
There's no boys and girls sports. There's only two genders.
Yeah.
Order is restored.
Order is restored now, bro. Go ahead. Say it. Say it loud. Say it proud. All right.
Perfect.
All right, fellas.
I'll let you guys.
Later.
There we go.